Today we will look at St. Paul, who might be considered by many people as a spoil sport, anti-happiness, anti-marriage, anything of enjoyment in this world. But this is an unfair criticism of the man. He is simply saying in his writings that his faith keeps him in good heart. Why? Because if you think about it, this world is meaningless without faith in God, faith in a God who will save us and who will give us pardon for our many, many sins. Paul says that he is willing to be absent from the body as long as he realizes that God's mercy is with him. And that's important, the word mercy. We know that if we meet the Lord even now, we are not really ready. We may be, but to be ready, we would need to be free from sin. We would need to be squeaky clean. But of course we know nobody is in this world. Starting from the Pope down, all of us have our faults and failings. But this shouldn't dishearten us, because our future is with the Lord, provided we have humility and trust in God. Now, these are important words. To be humble means to be aware of our faults and failings, to be aware that we are sinners. But also, our trust and hope is that God forgives. And this is very important for us to know. First of all, we can never be perfect in this world. We can do lots of acts of kindness. We can love other people. We can forgive. We can do all the things in the world as St. Paul himself says. But if we don't have love, and I may add here, if we don't have trust that God forgives us, and that above all, humility, to know that anything we do is imperfect, it will do good through the power of God working in us, not because of us. We are mere instruments. And being an instrument means that we are limited. But with God, God creates and God completes everything in this world. And our acts of kindness, our acts of charity, goodwill towards other people, forgiveness of other people are definitely needed. But it shouldn't bring us to the conclusion that we are great and that we don't need God's mercy. There is a story about a woman who lived a very selfish life. But one day she did an act of kindness. She gave an orange to a beggar man. And she is about to die now. And God sees that she did this kind act, even if it was only one. And he paid out a string or a rope. And at the end of the rope was the orange that she gave to that poor beggar man. And the orange came right into her hands just as she is about to die. And she grabs it and she dies. And she's been pulled up to heaven by God. And as she's been drawn up to heaven, another person comes and grabs her legs so that he too may enter heaven. But she gets mad. And she kicks him away and she says, "This is my orange. This is my robe. This is my way to heaven." And as soon as she says those words, the rope breaks and she falls back down to earth. The woman was very selfish. God was very generous. She didn't see that his mercy and his kindness and the good act that she had done was getting her into heaven. And all she had to do was to change and be kind to other people on her way back to heaven. We learn that God is merciful and full of mercy and kindness. He was willing to bring her into heaven just because of that one orange that she gave to a poor beggar. She obviously didn't see her need for God's mercy. Now we too may fall into that, especially when we do good, and it's good to do good, but we can do a lot of good for the wrong reasons. And one of them is to make ourselves feel that we deserve to enter heaven. It's only God's mercy will get us in there. So this was what Paul meant, that he would rather be dead and back with the Lord, more so than anything that this earth can give him. Any pleasure, any joy, any comfort that he may receive, or praise above all these things are useless, because all we need is God's mercy, and to be humble enough to see that we need his mercy. And it is in his mercy we find redemption, not in our goodness. Now we are good and we try to be good, and I'm not, again, like Paul, I hope I'm not accused of saying that, this man is just saying that everything we do is not right, it's not perfect. It's not. But we do everything to thank God and give him praise. And to be gracious, as Pope Francis says. Sin is being ungracious, not grateful to God for what God has done for us. So what is required in our life is humility, and then trust in God's kindness and his mercy. May God bless you and help you to enjoy this Sunday, and that you may experience the kingdom of God as described in the gospel. It may be very small, and maybe the small little things we experience in life, the seemingly insignificant things, are great in God's eyes. We are great in God's eyes. But in our own way, we should remain humble and beg for his mercy.